Hi, my name is Amanda Clay, and I'm going to talk to you about chickenpox today. Chickenpox is a highly contagious communicable disease. It's not something that you hear about a lot nowadays, but 20, 30 years ago, everybody had chickenpox. Their sisters, their brothers, everybody under the sun had it. But now there's a two-step vaccination that helps prevent children from getting chickenpox. Now, I did just say children. Children are the population most affected by the disease, usually school-age children. However, adults can get the disease if they did not get chickenpox as a child. Their symptoms are usually a little worse. It takes them a little longer to get over the disease, but they can get it. Chickenpox is caused by the varicella-zoster virus, and what this causes is a rash, a macular rash that forms and then develops into a vesicular rash that is very itchy, very irritating, usually spreads from the forehead to the trunk, to the arms and legs, to the face, can also go to the mucous membranes. That can be painful if they do develop sores within their mouth and their mucous membranes. This usually happens during the winter months into early spring. That's when it is most common. And again, it is school-age children that this happens most to. Some other common symptoms include fever and malaise. And the best thing that you can do for chickenpox is let it run its course. Of course, you can take analgesics. You can use oatmeal to help soothe the itching, take some oatmeal baths. You can use topical calamine just like you would with poison ivy to help relieve that itch. Those are all good things to do to help relieve the symptoms of chickenpox. You're probably wondering if this is a preventable disease or not. It is not on an individual case basis. However, the total number of cases are reported to the CDC. That's for statistical purposes. But as far as mandatory reporting, no, it is not mandatory to report this to the CDC. A little known fact about chickenpox is that 95% of the adults in America today had chickenpox before the age of 18. I think that's pretty outstanding. 95% of the adults in our population. I've also already said that it is an extremely contagious disease. It can actually be spread 3 different ways. You can catch it through airborne droplets of the infected person. That means if they're sneezing, coughing, you can get it. You can come in direct contact with the vesicles, that's part of the rash. That's another way that you can get it. Or indirect contact. If you have any contact with their stuffed animals, their bedding, their clothing, that's another way that you can get the disease. The incubation period for chickenpox is 10 to 21 days. That's quite a long time. And actually you can be contagious from 24 to 48 hours before you even get the rash to about 4 or 5 days after the rash appears, or until the last vesicles have crusted over, which is about the same time. Now again, adults who did not have chickenpox as a child are at risk for contracting the illness and are more likely to experience greater side effects, such as fever, nausea, aching, and a more difficult time healing. Pregnant women need to take precautions, especially if you've never had the disease before. Always make sure you talk to your healthcare provider to make sure there's nothing you need to do, extra precautions you need to take, or what happens if you are exposed to someone that does have the chickenpox. The risk of miscarriage is minimal in pregnant women who become infected with chickenpox virus, but it is still a risk. So you should always be investigated by a practitioner. Oftentimes, pregnant women who have had the chickenpox or are immune to the disease do not pose a threat to the fetus. Just make sure that you keep your gynecologist informed at all times. You know, if you would happen to come into contact with someone who did have chickenpox during your pregnancy, if you have not had chickenpox before. One of the key things for nurses to do with chickenpox in prevention is education. Education is our best tool against chickenpox. We want to make sure that parents are educated about the vaccine, educated about what to do if their child gets chickenpox, how to treat the side effects, make sure they're reminded to keep their regularly scheduled appointments. Again, we need to remind them how important these vaccines are when they come into the clinics, when they come in to their well child visits, when we see them out and about. You know, we just need to use any time that we have to make sure they know how important it is to get vaccinated against these very contagious diseases. But that's our greatest tool against any contagious disease, is teaching and education, and just continuous. Don't always expect that parents are going to know because their parents did it when they were little and they know the whole routine. Don't automatically assume that they know everything, because they don't. And we need to make sure that we're continually instilling in them that information that they need to help their kids, to help themselves, to prevent these types of disease. For any further information you'd like to have on chickenpox or any other contagious diseases, please visit the CDC website or your local health department. Thank you for your time.